Hey guys, welcome to Last Movie Standing. I want to talk fantasy movies today, especially with the Neverending Story coming out on 4K, the US release from Imprint that I spent $200 on. I was thinking, like, what are some other like really great fantasy movies, especially from the 80s? The 80s was like the best period for fantasy and adventure, but I want to go through a list of stuff that is fantasy, but it's like a different kind of fantasy. Fantasy, I feel like, isn't just put into one little category, And at first, I just want to mention ones that I don't own that I like, and I'm so mad. I realized, like, looking through my stuff, that somebody stole my Masters of the Universe DVD, or I let somebody borrow it and they never returned it. I was like, I know I own the Masters of the Universe, but I can't find it anywhere. Oh, I was so annoyed. And I didn't get the Umbrella box set. I think it's sold out. But I was honestly waiting. I was like, they're gonna probably release a 4K in like 2 years, and then I'm gonna have to rebuy it. But like Willow, I don't own Willow. It's been so long, but I want the VHS because the VHS has the coolest artwork ever. Like, but it's been so long since I've seen it. I don't remember really. I remember watching it when I was little, but not really being like, oh, I'm gonna keep rewatching this kind of a movie. Dragonheart. I don't own Dragonheart. I grew up with that one. Love that one. I always see the 4K steelbook in Walmart, and I'm like, it's always one of those. Yeah, I'll get it later. I need to get Dragonheart. I've never seen Flash Gordon. I know maybe it's a generation thing. I don't know, but I've never seen Flash Gordon. And I feel like there's one more that I missed. No, those are kind of the ones I don't own. But let's start with a classic, absolute classic. I need to get the 4K, but Labyrinth. Jennifer Connelly, David Bowie, Jim Henson made this movie. This is very 80s. Just even if you're not like, it's a musical, but you don't have to be in the musicals, I feel, to like this movie. Little girl gets her little brother gets abducted by the Goblin King, and she's got to go rescue him. Just the practical filmmaking in this movie, great. And Jennifer Connelly, I've had a crush on Jennifer Connelly since as old as I can remember. Like, probably since The Rocketeer. Like, I think The Rocketeer did a lot for me as a kid. You've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about and what she's wearing. But Labyrinth, great movie. I need to upgrade that. But I don't know which version to get. There's like I think a white steelbook or something, but it's like hard to find. I don't know. Highlander. Highlander is like a modern day. It's fantasy, but it's not like a typical like dragons and goblins and all that. It's about a is he Scottish? God, I can't remember. I think it's from Scotland. In the Highlands of Scotland, and he's immortal. He can't die. And you see him through all these different time periods, modern day, way back when, and everything. Such a great movie. I need to get the 4K. The 4K is like always on sale on Amazon, like down to $10, and I just still have not grabbed it. But the garage fight scene, the parking garage fight scene, get out of here. So good. And they're remaking this too, like finally remaking this. And I feel like they're going to do it justice. It's Chad Stahelski, who did the first 4 John Wicks, Henry Cavill. Like, this has potential to be an amazing remake. But this original, and I don't really remember the other ones. There's like a few, Highlander 2, Highlander 3. I don't know if there's 3 or 4. But Highlander 1 is so iconic. So iconic. You can't have fantasy without Conan. Conan is fantasy, but particularly, and I know this is controversial, but I don't care. Destroyer is my favorite. The second one. I love Destroyer. I love the fantasy aspect. I love the music, the cinematography. Guys, like, say what you want. Like, I get the first one is the more iconic one and the more rated R one, and this is more of like the family friendly one. Maybe that's why I like it so much, because I was allowed to really watch it and was really more into it as a kid. And I really liked the first one, but this second one, I had a huge crush on the princess. And I don't know how this movie is rated PG. Is it PG? But there's no nudity, but the phallic thing at the end, the demon, and how that's not rated R. Like, that's some scary shit, you guys. But just to go back to the cinematography, because I'm a cinematographer, there's this cinematographer who did the second movie is so popular, or was such a big name. There's a whole documentary about him. Like, I don't know. I think the visuals and everything in this Arrow 4K, one of the best 4Ks of the year. But both Conans, like the whole James Earl Jones and the snakes, and so good. This is very, not swords and sandals, but swords and magic. Like, so good. Let's switch it up a little bit. Let's get to a different kind of fantasy. Hook. Hook is fantasy. It's just, I don't even know what if fantasy has subcategories. There's like magic and sorcery, and then there's like, is this more imagination fantasy? But Hook, which is Steven Spielberg, I feel like I didn't know this wasn't like a big movie, because as a kid you don't know these things, especially back in the day when you see these come out. The internet wasn't a thing, and you couldn't just be like, oh yeah, it didn't do good at box office, and you know, a lot of people don't like it. Like, you realize when you're older, you're like, really? But it's Hook. Like, how do you not like Rufio? Rufio was the coolest kid. Oh, dude, when did this come out? How old was I? 91. I was 4. So when I saw this movie, it wasn't 4. I discovered this on home video or TV, because I was way too young to see this in the theaters. But really great Peter Pan movie. Probably the best Peter Pan movie. Just saying. Hook's amazing. R.I.P. Robin Williams. One of the greatest. Modern. Let's get to a few modern ones. And say what you will, I love these movies. I think they are so good. I don't see why they're remaking. Disney won't do anything with Snow White. But Snow White and the Huntsman and Snow White's Winter War, bro, these two movies are so good. Both of them are so good. Charlize Theron as the queen. The first one, when she gets out of that milk bath scene, like, it's, the visuals are just so good. You know, it's a retelling of Snow White, and it's so popular that they made a sequel without Snow White. Very like Frozen-esque, I guess, if you think about it, with the two sisters. You got Emily Blunt as like the ice queen. Oh my god, these are great fantasy, great visual fantasy movies. I love these. I've been debating upgrade. I just upgraded these to Blu-ray probably within a year, and I found them on 4K for pretty cheap, but I'm like, will it, one, I got these with the slips, so I don't, and I love these slips, so if I find the 4K with the slip, maybe, but I don't think there's going to be that much difference between a 4K and Blu-ray, to be honest, with these. But very high recommend. This is like the best modern fantasy movie I have seen in the last, when did this come out? These came out in, I wish they would say, 2012 and 2016. So basically within the last 10 years, I would say these are some of the best fantasy movies. To me, I think. I really dig them. Speaking of 4K and modern, Warcraft. Warcraft is also a video game movie. I have a whole video game list coming out, and this will be on that, so I'll be talking about it again. But I can't make a fantasy list and not talk about Warcraft. Now, I'll be honest. When I saw this trailer for the first time, when did this movie come out? 2013? 2013 or 14? 2013. When I saw the trailer, I was like, I'm never watching that CGI monstrosity shit. It just looked so bad. I'm like, no. Finally watched it, like on streaming somewhere, and I kind of dug it. I was like, why do I like this movie so much? it's just, I don't know, I get caught up in the world and everything. I don't care that much about who, I mean, Ben Foster, I feel like is a little silly, like that caliber of actor in this movie, in the role he played, but the CGI is really good. And this is one you don't need the 4K for. This is a one where I'm like, I thought the 4K would enhance it that much more. It doesn't. There's not that much of a difference. I can't tell that much of a difference. Like, this is one of those. I almost made a 4K that I regret buying, and this was on the list. There's another one on this list too. But I'm happy with it, but only because it comes with the Blu-ray. And when I get an OLED TV, which I don't have, maybe this will shine even more. But I was like, I was fine with the, the DVD. I mean, the Blu-ray, not the DVD, the Blu-ray. But Warcraft, great movie. Speaking of modern day, let's do one more. Another one, exact same thing happened. I saw the trailer, and I was like, this movie looks so bad. I never want to see this shit. I remember seeing trailers. Like, why? Like, I would get annoyed by how often I would see these trailers in the theater. But I watched the movie, and I kind of like it. Gods of Egypt. Gods of Egypt is a major guilty pleasure for me. Like, I know this movie is bad. I didn't want to see it when it came out. And I know everything wrong with it. And I know it got bashed, the whole whitewashing, whatever. This movie, I really like it. Like, I do. Like, I've seen this movie so many times. This was like my go to bed movie for the longest time. Like, just put it on. I've seen it so many times. Just go to bed to it. I really like this movie so much. But I know it's bad, and I know a lot of people don't like it. I just got this 4K. This is another one where the Blu-ray's way better. I watched the Blu-ray, and I think it's a TV thing. Like I said, with 4Ks, I don't have an OLED TV, and I don't have a Dolby Vision. I don't know if it's Dolby Vision or what. I don't know if it says on here, but I have to adjust the settings to get the picture to look right. And I don't like doing that. Like, I'd rather just put the Blu-ray in. Blu-ray looks great. This 4K does look good, but the colors are kind of muted until I change the settings. And like I said, I don't like doing that. So, but I had to get it. Slip cover. I found this brand new for $10. Slip cover comes with the Blu-ray. So I have both. But this is a fantasy movie, but it's also one of these where it's like, it's inspired, it's Gods of Egypt. So it's very fantasy though, because you have like different, like more different than Clash of the Titans, I would say. This is way more in the realm of, actually, would Clash of the Titans fall into fantasy? I think they would. I didn't have them in this list because I just talked about Clash of the Titans and Wrath of the Titans in my Greek mythology video. But Gods of Egypt, I'm not going to say high recommend. I know this movie's bad and it is a guilty pleasure. So I'm not going to be like, you have to see it. Like, you probably won't like it, but I love it. Let's go old school. Beastmaster, another classic 80s fantasy movie. Oh my god, I wore this out at Blockbuster, man. Like, this was bad. Parents couldn't even afford to own the VHS, just rent it every week and everything. And I really like the second one. Now, Beastmaster 2 does not hold up. Beastmaster 2 is only available on VHS and a Laserdisc. There is a DVD, but I think it's bootleg or like ripped from the Laserdisc, or it's not like an official release, but maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the quality. If anybody has like a really good quality DVD or something of this, like, let me know, because I love the artwork. That's one of the reasons I wanted to get the VHS. I love the yellow. I love the artwork, and it's a clean, like, it's not, this isn't new, but it's not that good. It doesn't hold up very well. This one, Dar goes back and, he goes into the future time portal, because the movie's called Through the Portal of Time, but the original Beastmaster is like fantasy to the max. Toto, Poto, magic, just so good. And definitely There's another one going on the list. Just spoiling that video. For PG movies that have full nudity. This has full frontal nudity. PG. 1980, was it 84 or something? But God, this movie's so good. And when I got the 4K from Vinegar Syndrome, I had probably not seen that movie in 20 years plus. This next one is just got a 4K announced, and I'm so excited for it. Stardust. This is a very underrated Matthew Vaughn movie. Matthew Vaughn, Layer Cake, Kick-Ass. He did Argyle. Do you know how I don't like Argyle? Worst movie of the year. But, X-Men First Class, like Kingsman, like Matthew Vaughn is the shit. And he did this movie with an all-star cast. Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert De Niro played the gay pirate so well in this movie. And this is how old this is. I just have the full screen. That's how long I've had this. This came out in 2007. I probably had it since then. God, was full screen and widescreen still a thing in 2007? Wow, I forgot about that. But yeah, this movie is so fancy. I respect, directors who want to make kind of movies they grew up with and stuff. Like Matthew Vaughn he produced Eddie the Eagle, which isn't a fantasy movie, but a small story. He produced it because he was watching Cool Runnings with his kids. Like, they don't make movies like that anymore. I don't know the backstory about this. It's probably in the commentary and the behind the scenes, or even talking about him getting the inspiration for this, but I think it was when he did Kick-Ass. Like, Mark Millar was really into that kind of thing, but very high recommend for this. This is a great, great movie, and I'm so stoked for the 4K coming out, because I just know it's going to look great. Like, the magic, the witches. It's basically about a fallen star coming to Earth, and it's Claire Danes, and it's like a beautiful woman, and you got to go through all the space pirates or sky pirates and witches, and so good. Next up, another one I see at Walmart all the time, and I never buy it like on 4K. Dragonslayer. I loved this movie growing up. This is a dark movie. It's a kid's movie. It's PG, but it's very dark in tone. Like, really dope. And it's so crazy. And I've always thought this, but it gets funnier as you get older and you see like more movies. But the lead guy in this is every other movie I've seen him in. I don't know his name. I probably can't pronounce his name. Peter McNow? I think that's him. Everything I see him in, he's like, like Ghostbusters 2. That's what I think of him and stuff. This is the same guy from Ghostbusters 2, right? I'm not like wrong about this, but like these kind of dragon movies, like I don't even know like what era would you call this? Like the 1300s, the 200, like how long? This is way before medieval time, or like medieval times-ish, with wizards and dragons and magic and sorcery. Like, if you've not seen this, if you've seen this, you grew up with this movie. But Dragonslayer is so good. Anything with dragons, that's why Game of Thrones is so popular. You put dragons in anything, sold. Red Sonja. I love Red Sonja. I know the whole story, the whole backstory about how, it was supposed to be a Conan movie, but rights and all this BS and contract stuff, but this movie's so good. There's a 4K German version. I know my friend Chase at AV Pop Culture has it, but I'm debating getting it because I've seen side by side to say the color's a little off. So I feel like this is coming. Who owns this? This is Warner Brothers. There's gotta, especially since like I think they're releasing a new remake or something soon. I'm hoping we get like a proper. I don't even know. Does this even have a proper Blu-ray? I don't know. Let me know. But like female Conan, I actually like Bridget Nelson looks absolutely amazing in this. Way better than she looked in like, Beverly Hills Cop 2 or like, what else have I seen her in? She shines in this. Like, and it's even got the evil witch or the queen is the Valerian or Valeria from Conan 1. I really like this movie, and it's from the same cinema. No, it's not from the same cinematographer. From the same director, I think, as Conan the Destroyer, but different cinematographer. So it doesn't have that epic production value that Conan the Destroyer had. But I really like this movie. I know some people are like iffy about it, but this movie's so good. I watched this movie my whole life since I was little and love that. A different kind of fantasy movie. Again, Princess Bride, directed by Rob Reiner. Like, Rob Reiner was like the romantic guy. You know, he did Harry and Sally, and he did The Princess Bride. Like, totally different kind of fantasy movie, but an amazing fantasy movie. I need to get the 4K Criterion, and I hear it's like a book, like, and it just feels great, the purple and the yellow, but I need to upgrade this. But this is, he's the Dread Pirate Roberts. Oh my god, I don't even know how to describe this movie. It's literally one of the best things. I don't have what's the saying? As You Wish. Totally great. I have something different. I have For You I Will tattooed on my arm. I don't have As You Wish, but it kind of like every time I think of this movie, I think of this quote on my arm. And I'm like, oh wait, no, it's the different one. But Princess Bride, great movie. This next one, I don't remember if it's aged very well, but the artistic design of this movie is just so good. Krull. You remember Krull? Krull, like I said, I don't remember it aged very well, but it's got this style to it that I really, really like. And I think the princess right here is so pretty. And she's in a couple of scenes, she's in the scene with this eye or this, it's just visually stunning. I don't know if this has a Blu-ray. This probably has a Blu-ray. But, I mean, it is Columbia Pictures. It's Sony, so... Would we get a 4K for this? I can see a boutique. This is such a small movie, a niche movie, that a boutique would totally pick this up. Like, I could totally see Umbrella doing this, but I need to revisit this because I don't remember it being like, damn, yeah, I gotta watch that more. It's more like, damn, this movie's not as good as I remember, but god damn, it's visually stunning. And I'm just going to talk about one of these movies. Next one, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Peter Jackson's Tolkien trilogy. But I want to specifically talk about my favorite in The Hobbits is the Decimation of Smaug with the dragon. Decimation of Smaug is my favorite Hobbit movie. But any of the Lord of the Rings, I didn't want to bring them all. I just brought my favorite one. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, it's like, it's one of the biggest fantasy franchises ever. There's 6 of them, and the fan base is massive, so... And I never understood the argument between Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, or one or the other. I never understood that. Like, to me, they're two totally different things, but... Anything Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit, probably one of the most popular, famous fantasy movies. And my favorite, if I had to pick my favorite, probably the first one, The Fellowship of the Ring, and the second Hobbit movie, The Decimation of Smaug, are my 2 favorites. Last, but certainly not least, because I know there's a bunch I'm missing that, you please tell me in the comments below. These are just the ones I own, but you cannot talk about fantasy, especially 80s fantasy, without talking about Legend. This movie is the most beautiful movie you will ever see, fantasy movie. Cinematography-wise, story-wise, music-wise. Fucking music-wise, this movie has 2 different cuts. I personally really do not like the US cut. I just don't. I didn't watch it growing up. I prefer the director's cut. I think but here's the thing. I really like the music from the theatrical cut from Tangerine Dream. I think this soundtrack is absolutely beautiful. And in the movie, it's absolutely beautiful. But I don't think it works in the movie. It's like this weird 80s synth thing in this fantasy movie. But there's 2 albums. So there's 2 versions with 2 different soundtracks. Like the US cut has one soundtrack. And then the director's cut has like a composed Jerry Goldsmith soundtrack. And I need to get that one too. But legend. I even have the VHS, which I've never watched, and I don't plan to watch because I don't like. It's only the theatrical cut, and I don't like the theatrical cut. But this art, it's got this purple spine. Oh, this purple spine is great, and I love the original artwork for it. Like, you gotta have this in the collection. But one of the first things I got, I remember when this came out, the Ultimate Edition. When did this come out? 2001. 2002. I remember buying this when it came out. Maybe I bought it in 2003 or 4. Because I remember I was in high school. I bought it at Suncoast Video. And this was $50. This was like $50 in 2004. And you're in high school. Being that young, like, I had to have this. And I even still have the packaging. I need to re-get this in like a new version. Because these packages, these Ultimate Editions DVDs that they had back in the day, they're so fragile. Like it's like you can see it broke right here, and they stain. Like, I don't know if you can really see that. It's like turning like this piss yellow. It's supposed to be clear, but they're super fragile. I just showed off my American Pie ones that I got because I just got the American Pie version of these, but I keep them in like these protective cases because I know just these age kind of weird in certain conditions. But I've had this since, DVD, and even this Blu-ray, which, so in case most people don't know, this film like is damaged. Like, Arrow did not put this on 4K because they knew it would make it look worse because they had to do a lot of work to fix this. And it looks amazing. But one thing I love that Arrow did, I've never seen this with any other movie. I think it's the theatrical cut. You can watch this movie with just the soundtrack. Like, you can just, which is the only way I can watch it because I don't like, the story's different, the music's different. It's just they're 2 different cuts. But this Arrow one, you can literally play the theatrical cut without the audio and just the soundtrack. And it, like, just listening and visuals, it's one of the best ways to watch it. Absolutely. But director's cut is my favorite. This is my first Arrow one. The disc is in there, but I changed the case to a 4-disc, mostly because I like the artwork on this. I've had multiple DVDs, as you can tell, because it's the same disc as in here. I got rid of the other case, but I want to get the box set. This is one I really want to get the big box set for. I don't know if Arrow's going to re-release this, because I think this was a UK only release. Somebody can correct me, I'm not sure, but it came with the box. And I don't care that much about the big box on Arrow things. I'm happy with just this in a slip, if this didn't come with a slip. But because this movie means so much to me, I do want the box. And I want the original black box. I don't know. But this is this is number 1. Not ranking them, but this is number 1 for me. Absolutely love this movie. So this is my collection of fantasy movies and some of my favorite ones. And I know I'm missing so many. I don't have Dark Crystal. I'm so mad that my Master of the Universe is not here. I don't know what happened to it, and I gotta re-get it. But what are some of your favorite fantasy movies? Because I know I'm missing some, and I know I left some off, and I'm gonna get called out for it. But list them in the comments below, because like I said, these are just the ones I own, and I really miss this genre because it's just stylistically just amazing. We don't get these anymore. Like, I think the closest we get, we get different. Like, you could call, in a way, you could call Blade Runner fantasy. I'm not gonna go there. Because that's sci-fi, it's different. But I feel I wanted to keep these more of a theme, But these are just some of my favorites, and I'm looking so forward to getting the Neverending Story 4K from Imprint. Just so excited for that release.